Joined by Finance Minister Matthias Cormann this morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
The bottom line was helped by savings on the NDIS. $4.6 billion was budgeted for, but that was actually never spent. Is that the right way to balance the books?
Well, we've actually more than doubled spending on the NDIS over the last 12 months, increasing the number of participants by 115,000 to 300,000. Over the last 3 years, we've increased the number of participants in the NDIS tenfold, from 30,000 3 years ago to 300,000. So, I mean, it's a massive undertaking. It's a very important undertaking, and we are implementing it as fast as we can. But of course, I mean, we need to ensure that providers in the market are able to keep up with the level of demand, and there's a lot more work to be done, and we will be doing the best we can.
Yeah, see, there seems to be a problem there, doesn't there? Paralympian Dylan Alcott tweeted yesterday. He said he is devastated. The budget surplus is due to savings through the NDIS funding delays. He says he sees the heartbroken families of people who try to get NDIS funding and can't. He is calling on the government to fix this. He is one of our greatest ever wheelchair athletes. You would think he would know. What is your response to that?
Well, I mean, I agree with him, and we are working to fix it. I mean, in the end, we're going through a massive reform exercise. It was the level of support people with a disability used to get in Australia was completely inadequate. And so instead of providing funding at a state level to a number of organisations, and then they've got to do the best they can, we are giving essentially every single Australian with a disability who needs that level of support access to that support. But it's a massive increase in services, and the provider market out across the community needs to essentially develop in order to be able to meet that demand, as well as making sure that the funding is there. The funding is there, the money is in the budget, but we can only spend at the pace that the market is able to develop to meet that demand. And our objective is to get to the full 500,000 participants as soon as we can. We've increased from 30,000 to 300,000 participants over the last 3 years, including 115,000 additional this past year. But yes, of course, we've got to continue to go as fast as we can.
Why do we need a surplus right now? Economic growth is slowing. Unemployment is up to 5.3%. That's the highest in 12 months. Is the economy as healthy as you guys are making it sound?
Well, our economy continues to grow. We are facing global headwinds. We're dealing with the consequences of the floods earlier in the year, with the consequences and the impact of the drought. But of course, I mean, we have delivered $300 billion worth of income tax cuts. Over the last 2 months, about $16 billion worth of income tax relief has been put back into the pockets of hardworking Australians. We're investing about $100 billion in infrastructure over the next decade. So when we are making decisions to invest, we are, of course, providing record funding for schools, hospitals, disability services, welfare. But government needs to live within its means, because if we don't, we've got to impose higher taxes in the future, which would weaken the economy when we want to continue to strengthen it.
But household debt is huge. Wages are flat. Underemployment is much bigger than the unemployment rate. And you guys are saying, yes, but we've got a surplus. It just seems like the wrong time to be, growing that surplus, doesn't it?
Well, the employment growth is higher than it has been over the long-run average, at 2.6%. Wages growth is higher than it has been since 13-14. At 2.3%, it's running above inflation of 1.6%. I mean, but yes, of course, we're continuing to work hard to build a stronger economy, to ensure that into the future, even more Australians can get into work and can get better wages over time.
OK. Thank you very much for your time this morning, Minister.
Always good to talk to you.
Here's that.